I live in the beautiful garden parish of StAnn, on this island paradise we call Jamaica. Jamaica, land we love. From StAnn, we have had great world-recognized icons like Bob Marley, Robert Nesta Marley, and Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the first national hero of Jamaica, and Bob Marley, a name that is recognized globally. If you travel to the farthest corners of the earth and you say Bob Marley, there is someone there to recognize that name. They may tell you that their favorite song is Three Little Birds on My Doorstep, No Woman No Cry, or One Love, the song of the millennium. Bob Marley, Robert Nesta Marley, Order of Merit, was born on the 6th of February 1945 to Cedella Booker and Mr. Marley. He died on the 11th of May 1981. He was a Jamaican singer extraordinaire, a musician and a songwriter. Bob Marley is considered one of the pioneers of reggae music. His musical career was marked by fusing elements of reggae, ska and rocksteady, as well as his distinctive vocal and songwriting style. Bob Marley was like a prophet of old. He would talk about things that would happen in the future. He was a visionary. His songs were philosophical. Today I'm taking you on a journey to Bob Marley Mausoleum in 9 Miles, StAnn. We are taking this trip through Chalky Hill and we are going to be going through some rocky roads. But when we get to 9 Miles, you will see that the legend lives on. Over the course of his career, Marley became known as a Rastafari icon. Wherever you go in Africa, wherever you go in Europe, wherever you go in North America, South America, wherever you go, you will meet someone who knows about Bob Marley. Bob Marley was not just instrumental in music. Bob Marley was instrumental in seeking to create peace amongst Jamaicans politicians. Bob Marley is remembered for playing a pivotal role in brokering peace between Jamaica's two major political parties, the Jamaica Labour Party led by Edward Seaga and the People's National Party led by Michael Manley. Both were former Prime Ministers of Jamaica. They have both passed on. The concert was held during a time of great political upheaval between opposing parties, the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party. The concert came to a peak, a climax during Bob Marley and the Wailers' performance of Jamming, when Bob Marley joined the hands of political rivals Michael Manley and Edward Seaga. No one imagined this could have been possible. When he was elected Prime Minister of Jamaica in 1972, Michael Manley pursued a socialist agenda. Edward Seaga, on the other hand, pursued a capitalist agenda. I know that many of my brilliant subscribers are not just interested in the sights and sounds of our attractions, beaches, and the beautiful island of Jamaica, but you want to understand more about the history and governance of this beautiful island paradise. I recommend to you The Governance Public Debt Nexus, 1962 to the 21st Century by Dr. Collett June Ann Smith, a case study of Jamaica with Barbados and Singapore as comparators. Dr. Collett Smith says in chapter 3 of her book, Jamaica is a part of the Greater Antilles, located to the southeast of Miami, Florida, and south of Cuba. It is the third largest Caribbean island with a landmass of 11,420 kilometers squared and a population of approximately 2.9 million. Jamaica, which was previously inhabited by the Taínos, was settled by the Spanish after the arrival of Christopher Columbus in 1510. His first visit was in 1494. Length of tenure and policy choice, also in Chapter 3. Legislative authority is vested in Jamaica's bicameral parliament, consisting of the Houses of Representatives and the Senate. policy-making authority rests with a cabinet made up of the Prime Minister, selected members of Parliament, and 2 to 4 members of the Senate. Each political administration is given a 5-year term, which can be shortened if the Prime Minister chooses to call an election before time has expired. She goes on to talk about the different Prime Ministers, their tenures, and their contribution to the development of Jamaica. This is found under political economy. I'm going to be sharing a little bit about what she said about Prime Minister Michael Manley and Prime Minister Seaga, the 2 former leaders of the Jamaica Labour Party and People's National Party, whom Bob Marley brought together at the One Love Peace concert. 1980s to 1990s, Prime Ministers Edward Seaga and Michael Manley. PM Seaga entered representational politics in 1962 and served as Prime Minister and later opposition leader for a total of 43 years. Seaga exuded much of the same autocratic style of Bustamante without the charisma. Some even described him, that Seaga, as being introspective and aloof. By 1995, he had begun to lose favor with several of his cabinet ministers, including his heir apparent Bruce Golding. The infamous move by dissenting Jamaica Labour Party members was succinctly captured by Budden 2009, who reported that the voices of change in the JLP go back to 1995. The strongest of these voices was Bruce Golding's. His was not the first, but was the most articulate and most credible. The challenge to the old party order has come in different forms. The first form was to work from within to try and get Mr. Seaga to change his style and make the JLP more democratic. End of quote. Mr. Seaga also had a gentler side. During the 2002-2003 budget debate, he concluded a review of his political life with the following offer to Finance Minister Omar Davies with regards to Jamaica's economic challenges. And I quote, "I think I have a solution, and I'm going to sit down with you quietly, you and I'm going to show it to you, spell it out, and if you are in agreement, I want us to do it together." End of quote. Closer to the end of his tenure, in 2005, he became more reflective, asking his colleagues to ensure that matters relating to education, human rights, the economy, and social services for the haves and have-nots be given priority attention. He argued that a system of good governance should focus on provision of a secure criminal justice system. There must be operation of an effective education system, and there must be the creation of an economy which provides gainful opportunities. Seaga 2005, page 100. Even in the face of criticism, he was highly regarded for his attention to detail, ability to expound on social and economic issues, and his work in culture and community development. His tenure as Prime Minister ended in 1989 when he lost to Prime Minister Manley. Let's take a quick look at Prime Minister Manley's tenure. Prime Minister Michael Manley, 1972 to 1980. Dr. Smith says, Prime Minister Michael Manley, who took over from his father as party leader in 1969, won the 1972 election against Hugh Shearer, gaining 37 seats to the JLP's 16 seats. His emphasis on social justice and the promulgation of an ideology of democratic socialism made him popular with the masses, but not the private sector. Worrell and Smith 2000 argued that the elections were won on a populist agenda based on the redistribution of income. Correspondingly, there were very few backward and forward linkages to reduce unemployment and stimulate trade across industries. Panton, 1993, noted that, and I quote, "Although the economy was adversely affected by several external factors, Manley's fiscal expansionism and restrictive controls on private sector production played a crucial role in the severe economic decline which characterized this period." On the positive side, the government managed to contain the trade deficit improve domestic agricultural production, and provide incentives for informal opportunities, all of which prevented the total collapse of the Jamaican economy. End of quote. Michael Manley went on to win the 1976 election with 47 seats to the JLP's 13 seats. He was a charismatic leader who used symbols such as a rod, a casual style of dressing, and slogans such as "I am Bornea" to establish a firm identity with the masses. He has, then and even now, been highly regarded for introducing legislation to promote social advancement. Though he openly associated with leaders that many classified as being on the radical left, like Fidel Castro of Cuba and others, he sought to assuage the fear of Jamaicans and foreigners by denying any widespread communist infiltration of the island's governance structures. Still, high inflation and economic and social instability led to much unease and divestment, resulting in an extended period of negative growth. This according to Stone and Brown, 1981. Many continued to look to politicians for sustenance, which the country could not provide. Manley became unpopular, and Siaga, who had been accused of stoking the fear of communism for Manley's entire tenure of leadership, won the 1980 elections, taking 51 of the 60 seats. Dr. Smith shares much more about Jamaica, its leaders, the economy, governance structure, and public debt in her book. I highly recommend that you purchase that book. It's available on Amazon. Now, as we continue on our tour, on our way to the Bob Marley Mausoleum in 9 Mile, StAnn, these are the roads in southeast StAnn. I understand that this particular constituency is led by former Miss Universe Lisa Hanna, Member of Parliament representing the People's National Party. We're taking our time navigating the corridor as we head to the Bob Marley Mausoleum in 9 Mile, StAnn, the birthplace of one of the greatest musical legends that you will ever learn about in the history of reggae music. It was a treacherous journey. The driver had to navigate many potholes, some of which felt like craters. But we continued because we had excited visitors waiting to behold the place, the land, the house, the bed, the mausoleum, the final resting place of a musical icon, Robert Nesta Marley, known affectionately as Bob Marley, our son, a son of StAnn, a son of the soil. Notice the lush hillsides, the beauty of the fields as we drove by, and as peaceful and as serene as this environment appears, so were the people with whom we interacted on our way through the hills of StAnn, through Town, Chalky Hill, Golden Grove, Claremont, and finally to our destination at 9 miles in StAnn. Beautiful hills, beautiful valleys, arable lands. We could see different produce being farmed on the way. And we are there. We are finally at 9 miles in StAnn, Bob Marley's birthplace and the place where he rests from his labor. Here we have the entrance. there's a little gift shop to the right. And that is where we purchased all the armbands to go onto the tour. Many buses, cars, coaches traverse this space on a daily basis. It is one of the most popular attractions on the North Coast. There is an excellent rendition of the great Robert Nesta Marley. Tour guides, buses, coaches, cars, private vehicles travel from several areas across Jamaica, from Montego Bay, from Negril, from Kingston, from Ocho Rios, from St. Mary, from Hanover, all over the island to visit the birthplace of this great man, Bob Robert Nesta Marley. It was a pretty interesting tour. Here we are ascending the stairs to go up to a mini museum where we will take a look at dolls that were made by Bob's mom, Miss Cedella Booker. We're going to be walking through this gift shop on our way to the site where the remains of Bob, his mom, his brother, and other relatives lie. If you need souvenirs, they are available at the site. You can also purchase souvenirs at craft markets and from vendors all across the tourism capitals. Here is where we are met by the tour guide who takes us on a tour of this beautiful mini museum at the Bob Marley Mausoleum site in 9 Miles, StAnn. There are the dolls that were made by his mom, records of different activities in which Bob was involved. The legend lives on through all of these craft items, photographs, news articles, and a well-kept site, the life and work of Bob Marley. That's his mom, Miss Cedella Booker. Awards won by Bob over his many years, promoting reggae music all across the world. So many memories, such a great impact. The man, the legend, the music, the impact. This is the central area where we gathered for a mini live show by persons who shared different songs from Bob Marley's catalog. The voices were melodious. The music was on point. It was a good presentation. So we're heading up the hill We're moving up to Bob's resting place. Beautiful, lush green plants are all around this property and on properties adjacent to the Bob Marley Mausoleum in 9 Miles, StAnn, Jamaica. The energy was infectious. The visitors truly enjoyed this tour. And here we are in that little room where Bob Marley's bed still lies. The place is well kept with so many memories to share. Just outside of this space is Bob's resting place, his mausoleum, where he's buried with his brother. His mother's resting place is on the other side. This is a little garden just outside of the mausoleum, reminding us that Bob lives. And here we are heading back to Ocho Rios after a beautiful tour with very excited visitors from Europe and North America, expressing their gratitude for having had the opportunity to visit this site, to walk on this site, to get close to that bed on which Bob laid, to take pictures on the rock stone on which Bob laid as his pillow outside of that little room. So many things to say, but such little time. It has been my pleasure sharing with you this journey to and from Bob Marley's Mausoleum in 9 Miles, StAnn, Jamaica. Jamaica, a beautiful island in the Caribbean.